Hello YouTube. I want to start this video with a massive thank you. First of all, we've gone over 1,000 subscribers, which is I did not expect that to happen. Certainly not this so soon. So thank you for that. It means a lot. It even means I'm earning money now. Not very much, I got to admit, but like I said before, if I just cover cutting discs and bits and bobs like that, that's brilliant. All helps. So today's video is, as promised, how to make a water rail for Zetec. This is what we're going to be making on this video. It's a water rail redirection for the Zetec engine, which you need because the existing setup doesn't suit rear-wheel drive setup. So keep watching, and this is what we're going to be doing today. So the Zetec water rail normally comes off the back there, and the big bulky thing sticks out about that much and just fouls the bulkhead on the Escort. So what we do is, it's going to be our trolley dolly. So what we do is use this bit of 2x1 box section as pipe, basically. Effectively put it from there, then up into that section there, then come off of there at an angle like that, and Fiesta type thermostat housing on it there, and that kind of gives a BDA look to the setup, kind of. Right, so the first thing we need is to make a plate to go over here to give us a starting point for that hole there. So symbols, it's off, something like that. This is just an old Zetec engine, or 1.8 I had off of Scrapman for free. Went to drop some metal down to him and it was there. Spun a bearing, it's well and truly had it, but I use it for mocking stuff up. And mocking the engine into place, I'll use this, because this is the one I used in the pop. So to mock up engine mountings and exhaust, everything was mocked up off of this engine. So that plate to go there. And the idea is, if you can get the camera around here.
Which way? Under here.
Have a look under. Yeah, so that'll fit onto the ST head just as well as it'll fit on the Zetec head, because the basics of it are the same. Now I found that cardboard makes quite a good template for the plasma cutter. Amazingly.
Well, for it to run along.
Yeah. I know. I was surprised too. I thought it's just going to burn and melt and catch fire. It might yet. But so far it hasn't. Cardboard aided. Just like that. Okay, so one of the things I do struggle with, I've got to be honest, is getting holes in the right place for this sort of thing. So what I do is use a ball peen hammer and knock out the let's say something, knock the hole through like that. So you're effectively making a gasket which you can work with. Pop those out, and you've got your holes where you want your holes to be. Now what I always struggle with, and if somebody's got some suggestions on how to do this better, is when I go to line up my centre punches. Right, get centre punch. Okay, so what I always find difficult to do is get me centre punch right in the central place. Now Aid's just suggested I go cross the centres off like this, so you find the centre and then punch that out. But what I also find difficult is actually getting this lined up. So if there's a trick to this, any you engineers out there watching, there's an actual trick to doing this, let me know. So you see that's not exactly central to that hole now. bad. So I'll drill these out. What I usually end up having to do is oversize drill one or two of the holes so I can use it to line it up. But let's drill these out and see where we're at. So as you'll now see, I'll struggle to get this to line up. So first screw goes in, always tidy. You can often get two to line up. The third one, no chance. So what I'll do now, and it is a bit of a bodge, is I'll simply drill that out to the next size up, and that'll give me a little bit of clearance to waggle it around. This one is already quite close to the edge. I probably should have made this a little bit taller. So it's I might even put a bit of weld on that, just to we'll see how it holds up. But so what I'm going to do is drill that one out now, and keep drilling it out, next size up, until we can get it to fit. I've drilled both of these out to 9mm, and we've got enough clearance now for the screws to go in tidy. So on to the next stage. Right, okay, so got this secured in place. So use a die grinder now just to whack that out. Right, so that's opened out nicely to suit the head. And you can see now why I use a scrap head for this sort of thing, because you can see the shards that are coming off of that would mangle an engine. Okay, so the next step is to basically make this bit. Now I had forgotten, because it's been a few years since I made one of these. I need cap heads to give me the clearance I need for the box section to go around that. So I need to order. I might have some here somewhere, but I can't remember off the top of my head having cap heads here. So I have to order some of them before we can move on. Because what I need to do now is to cap head that in place, and then I know where I can weld this to work my way around. Obviously I need to cut a hole in this to suit that and round that off of there. Right, okay, I found some cap heads. They were in there. So I just robbed them out of there. Okay, so what we want to do next is get this to follow the profile of that around there. And that's not a million miles off, so we will use that. Just as simple as that. We just cut that off, cut that round. On this side we'll actually open the hole all the way around. So this would be a full hole this side, and just a semicircle that side. We'll then obviously put a piece around there to close that off and weld that onto there. And what I'll do then is I'll weld that from the inside out, so that is welded around there from the inside. So that'd be a nice watertight weld then. Right, okay, so a piece not dissimilar to that, which will fit on there, and the next then is now just to cut the strip to cap that off. It should be straightforward enough. If I had a bit of 2-inch pipe here, which I thought I did have, but I can't find any for the love of looking, I'd have sectioned a bit of 2-inch pipe to make the difference up, but no hardship. I use a bit of flat steel now and just make it around. So here we go, just a bit of flat bar like that. That'll go onto there, weld it on and work my way around to the amount where I want it to be, and cut it to suit it. Right there. These edges all beveled off now, so that'll make a nice point for the weld to go into. So what I think I'll do is I'll simply weld that on flat on that one and tap it around as we get to it. There we are, so that's capped off quite nicely on there now. Yes, that looks a business. So I just clean that up with a grinder and Jungle. There we are. That looks half about. Not a perfect semicircle, but it'll do. It's the idea of this now is this simply caps off that there now. So we'll clean that up, tack that in place and fully weld it into place. Then we'll work our way around the corner. Keep things long. Don't worry about cutting these to length and size and what have you just yet, because it gives you something to hold on to and faff about with. Right, so the plan is, you see I've shinied this up so it's nice, nice to weld to. Same with this, giving it a good, just nice buffing up. So find a sweet spot here now and simply tack that into place, then take it off and weld it. So it's literally a case of hold it in place, tack it, and we've got to allow for is enough clearance for these cap heads to be able to be done up and undone in the future. That racket you can hear is my flyer. It's the my oil feeder's just run out on it, and that's the hideous noise it makes as it comes to an end. Something like that. Got to work out a heat to take off from this as well. It used to come off over the top here for them. And I'll see what I got for that, and we'll work that out as we go. It's all about what scrap we can find to build it out of. So there we go. So what I'll do now is weld this around there from the inside out as best I can, and clean that face off then so it's super flat to go against there. Right, so that's all nicely welded around there. I'm reasonably confident that that'll be watertight. I'm just going to run a bead across there now just to tidy that up. We can then take a grinder too to clean up afterwards. I'm going to cut that tack back to its meter first. Right, what that'll do is help get a nice bead straight across there now, hopefully. Now this will be sending this all shapes, but we'll worry about that later. Lovely. See the difference by cutting that tack off? You just go straight across there now and get quite a reasonable bead across that. Same on the side. Right, so that's nice and solid there now. Right, that's the first bit of it done. So let's get that. That feels quite flat on there as it happens. Next thing to do, spin this around, is a section along here. Now this is again just 2x1 like this, and I'll just weld, make a couple of tabs so it sits flat against there. So let's see what we got. Right, that'll do me. Just scrap. So that'll fit. And what this will do is avoid the exhaust. So what I'm going to do is come down here an angle somewhere, but if I just make the tabs up for this, then I know where I want to go with it. Then we'll worry about the bit that kicks out here afterwards. Something like this, bit of 3mm or 5mm. 3mm is the same thickness as this stuff, so perfect. Just drill that out now. So simply put those in place, hold them in with a screw, and marked off where we wanted them. So like that. Cut that one, and then bolt them in place and weld and tack them onto that. Right, simple little trick. Make sure you get two the same. Cut one, bolt them together, and cut the other one. Simple as. Right, clamp that onto there and weld that onto there. Right, now that's at one with the engine. The next challenge is work out how we're going to do our cut from there to bring that down onto there. Right, thing to avoid here is obviously the holes there and exhaust coming out of here, so we're going to be coming down here pretty much sort of like that into there. So what we'll do is cut a piece to suit that and tie into there and work that out from there on in. Then of course we'll weld that onto there and trim it all up as we go in, so not too worried about things being perfect lengths and what have you. When I first started making these I was trying to pie cut these and bend them around, but it's way too much hassle doing that. It's easier just to do it like this and weld it all up afterwards. Right, let's mess around with some cardboard again. Stick that in there. Good idea to avoid that area. So that's a no-go zone. So I use the edge of that, which I know is inch wide, and see how we're looking. I know that's the angle we need off that side. Okay, the wonders of cardboard. So we know that's the angle we want to come off of there with, like so. So if I bolt that back onto there, we can play around with that. Let's see if we can figure out what angles we need. In theory, if we cut that down like that and a piece same as that, we should be in the right department. Right, okay, so we got this bolted back onto there now, and this ready to tack into there. Now you'll see it's down a touch on that, but that's okay because we want it to line up with where the water's going to flow anyway, so it's not the end of the world. Now I'm going to tack this one onto that one, but not that one, because we need to cut this one to suit this setup. So what I'll do now, I'll get a couple of tacks in there and move our way forwards. Yeah, I've fully welded that onto there, and we'll work our way onto the next one. Yeah, so sharpied around that now, and you can see how much, see the hatched area where I'll be cutting that out. Right, so that's welded now onto there fully. We'll grind off and clean that up afterwards. So you just check our marks are still lined up, so they're all good. So what we do now is cut this one down and cut the bits out of it and weld that up to place. Right, so bolted back on, you can see now the idea of a bit of a gap there, but that's not too much of a problem. The welder soon fill that up. So I'll weld this, or tack this in place now and weld this fully before I go around there, before I cap the end off, so I can keep an eye then on what's happening on the inside. Then when I'm happy with it, so if it needs cleaning up the die grinder, I'll clean it up, then I'll cap the end off. So that makes it all one piece now. Right, so I've got two choices here. Either cut this down to fit inside there, or trim this down so this will fit sort of flush the top, flush with that. But what I think I'll do is I'll trim this down to suit this. I think it'll be neat and right. I'm happy with how that looks. So blast some weld around it now, then we'll clean all the welds off. Okay, that's looking half about, so we'll get a grinder on there, so I'll clean up some of these edges to make them look a bit nicer. I think I got a little bit carried away there with that, but it has made it look a bit nicer. For a part of this, pretty much from there forward you're never going to see again once it's on the car, but hey ho. Right, let's clean that piece up a bit neater. Okie dokie. Next bit now is to make the return piece for that. Right, that's it so far. Fitted up. So next section is to make the actual bit where the thermostat itself goes onto, and that will effectively go like that pretty much. So what we'll do first is use this as a template for making a plate for that to bolt to, and then we'll work out how to come out from there to suit it. Right, so basically something like that. Oh, that's still quite warm. You're going to have to dump it in a bucket of water. Okay, so what I'll do next is clamp back together, drill those through. All I've done is, like I say, clamp back together and just drill through at the drill press, and put a nut and bolt through either one, and then clean it up with a grinder then so it comes flush with the side of that. Okay, that gives us our base plate. Of course that needs a hole in it, so that's the next challenge. So it's the old method of doing it. So if you're ever making your own gaskets, this is how it's done. On your edges first, bolt it down, stop it moving around, and then trim out the rest. Securely in there would be good. Well, just like that. So what we'll do now is use this to draw where we need to cut the hole out. Right, I think I can work with that. Right, we've got the die grinder in there now to clean that up a little bit. Okay, so that's made that quite nicely. The other part. So we now have a flange to work that with. So the next challenge is to get that to effectively go there somewhere. And the way we're going to do that is turn that out like that, pretty much. So we obviously cut that at an angle there, cut that one at an angle as well to so bring us about a 45-degree cut, and then that will bring us oh, hang on, get the camera shot. There we are, that'll bring us to about there, so where we can get the flange on, about there somewhere, which you then bring that out to suit us to about there. Right, it's got our angle on there. I think what we'll do is I'll just offer that up to the car quickly to make sure we're still missing everything. Yeah, right, we're good there. Next challenge is to make that fit on there. Okay, so the idea now is to, similar to what we did on this end, for that to be rounded off and to follow this where we want it to be. So we're going to be over here somewhere. Again, cutting out the circle. And exactly the same as what we did over this end. Right, so what we need next now is a bit of metal to suit that, which I think I might have one piece kicking about somewhere. The other thing I want to do is, of course, you're not going to be able to bolt through this, so I'm going to put a stud effectively poking up like that and tack that in place. So I'll do that sooner rather than later. Put the stud there, we can be perfect for that. Right, next thing to do is to get stud welded into there. Put that off of there. Right, that is pretty much water rail done. I'll probably get a die grinder in there to clean that out. Right, so that is basically that. I'll bolted back onto the car now. You can see what it looks like. What I might have a play with, although I don't know how successful it will be because it's quite a large item, is, and it's been on my to-do list to have a go at it, is electroplate it. But I might try with start with something smaller first and see how that goes. That is it, mostly completed. I've got a couple of jobs left to do. Obviously cut that back and tidy that up. And in my eagerness to get this completed, I've not got me heater tapping in there, so that's has yet to be done. But hopefully you can see the idea that you don't have to spend thousands of pounds to make a Zetec engine fit an Escort. This raw material is probably about 20 quid, so it's plenty cheap enough to make. It's quite labour intensive. I think it's probably about eight hours in this, so you know I couldn't make them and sell them. My time would be too costly to make them and sell them. But for a hobby, for you to do it yourself and to save a couple of quid, happy days.